Hey guys, I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome back to another video, and today I'm going to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie. Now, when I first heard about this movie, I didn't really get overly excited for this movie, as I've always been kind of a bit disappointed and let down with a lot of video game adaptations of movies. I wasn't really so drawn into the marketing, the trailers for this movie, but I watched the movie, and to be honest with you, at best it was a very average movie. I don't think this movie will exceed many people's expectations, nor wouldn't really, I would say, people would feel disappointed. I think some people would have looked at it as a decently good feel good movie. I mostly think it's more targeted for children. But I kind of watched it very much an eye to an eye, and very, very throughout very thoroughly, and I just think at best this is a really average film. But yeah, I'm gonna kind of speak about more of the issues that I have with this movie. Firstly, I will say the plot is very, very generic. So really, to start with this movie, it basically starts with Mario and Luigi running their plumbing business in Brooklyn. So they're just trying to, do fix pipings and all that stuff, and that's basically what the movie starts with, and then basically they just somehow get across a pipe underneath a drain in Brooklyn that basically takes them to a Mario world like the Mushroom Kingdom and etc. etc. So really, the intro of this film was just about a bit underwhelming in that regard. Also, I feel like a lot of the characters were very underwhelming. Even Mario's underwhelming. Usually when you play the Mario video games, you know that he's the savior, that he will get it done. Such as when Mario goes through these levels in the game, tries to rescue Princess Peach, trying to defeat Bowser. Really, this one doesn't happen that way. I felt like Peach was more or less the person trying to work out Mario's problems and try and fix everything for him so he could try and rescue Luigi. It was just a very, very strange narrative. I don't understand why they went down that route, but it really didn't help with the overall feel of it in some sense. But yeah, even speaking among the characters of the movie, no character stood out. I mean, even Bowser as a villain was very lackluster. He comes across a very goofy enemy. There's always opportunities in this movie that they always try and make jokes, and I will also state the comedy doesn't land very well. I do grant that this is obviously a movie designed for kids, but even if I was a kid, I wouldn't find it funny. It's just the humor was very dry at best, but overall, I mean, a lot of the times, a lot of the sequencing and the pacing of this film, it didn't really add much to it when you read some of the comedic dialogue, or even some of the characters or the way they developed throughout the movie. It felt very flat for the most part. But also another thing I would also state with what this movie also lacks as well is really any moments. Like, I think the moments in this film were very, very underwhelmingly short. So they do have some good moments, such as Mario would face Donkey Kong in an arena, they're battling against each other. There's also a scene where Mario and Donkey Kong's army or whatever, they're basically in their sort of customized Mario karts or bikes, and they're going along the track as well as the Rainbow Road, and they're basically being chased by Bowser and his Goopas. And I think that it looks pretty impressive, like from a visual standpoint, as well as something that kind of brought the anticipation up. But it was really short, though. I mean, I feel like they could have really had more opportunity to create some sort of sense of action in this film. But I really do think they missed the mark. And I think another thing they also missed the mark in this film is there is also a lack of power-ups. I felt they have the power-ups and they demonstrated it, but there wasn't enough of it. It was just, I think there was like a few times they used shells, and sometimes they would use the flower power-ups. The flower power-ups were rarely used. They would have a fire power-up and an ice power-up, and they don't get much time at all. And even they use the power ups, Mario doesn't use it. He doesn't use any of the fire power ups as I've seen in this film. I swear you not, he didn't use it. It was mostly other characters. Like, what's the point? If you're doing a Mario movie and somehow you're doing, you want to demonstrate power ups, I'm sure Mario would be the main character to use it. But he doesn't use very much any of them. Most of the times, the other characters are using it. It's very silly from a writing perspective. But yeah, kind of sidetracking is most of my problems with this film. I will state one thing that I do like about this movie. I honestly think the animation is really good. Now, I know the animation team, I think it's called Illuminations, they did the animation for the Despicable Me movies. And I think they did a very good job with it. I mean, creating the characters and the Mario world, I think they did a very, very brilliant job with it. Also, I felt with the movie as well, they definitely get a lot of the Mario elements from the video games well in it, and they get some of the visuals, the atmosphere, like the Mushroom Kingdom to maybe Bowser's Castle or whatever. They kind of do get those sort of scenes very well, and although I maybe kind of felt the voice cast wasn't right for this one, it didn't feel with me. But I would say, kind of watching the movie overall, kind of gliding along with it, I do kind of think it kind of grown on me, to be honest. So I didn't really kind of look at the voice cast as a bit of an issue with this film. But yeah, overall, if I had to rate the Super Mario Brothers movie, I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10. I think it's just a fairly average movie. There's some good things that I could really say about it, but I think its pacing and its moments and the way they develop characters, it felt very short on that. So overall, I'm gonna give it a 5.5 out of 10. And yeah, that's about it. See you later.